Mosaic Youth Theater in Detroit.
Right.
And I had to step outside of my own school district to go all the way on downtown towards the west side so I can pursue my dream. And for the simple fact is, if I can't get money to have like something that I was supposed to have at school, like education in the arts, education in automotive, and certain things like that. I understand that we have VOTEC and all that, but there is not enough funding. And with the student council, when we try to do our programs and we try to do stuff for our community, we have to fight and scrap for funding. So is there any way that we can actually work with Detroit, with the Detroit Council, so we can actually get funding for us to actually do stuff, so we can step outside the box and be who we are anywhere else?
There is actually. There's a couple thoughts that come to mind there. One is there are grant dollars that are available through the city of Detroit. It's actually federal money that the city gets on an annual basis. And you're right that you have to go to council to apply for those dollars, but it's called Community Development Block Grant Funds. So you could, although you would have to run that through a 501c3 tax-exempt organization. But if this school or some extracurricular program here were to partner with a tax-exempt organization that agreed to work with you to apply for those grant dollars, you could get the dollars to fund your activities that way. Another thought also, which is something I've seen certain programs do at other schools around the city and really all over Michigan, all across the country. You have a lot of businesses in this area, as well as a lot of businesses that service the entire city, and in some cases the region, and maybe even the country, depending on how big they are. In some cases, what you can do is go to them for sponsorship or ask them to contribute and to support your programs. And a lot of them, even in this economy, will step up and do it because you have many businesses that they want to be, quote, good corporate citizens, unquote. And part of how they can do that is by supporting local community programs. So you might want to look into that as well. If there's businesses that, I'm guessing most of you live in the neighborhoods around the school, so if there's certain stores and businesses that you patronize, you can go to them and ask them to give back. And one way for them to give back would be to support this school and the programs taking place here. Okay? And I'd be happy to help you out with that too. Okay. Your name and your question.
How you doing, sir? My name is Brandon Anderson. I'm a minister of music at my church, and I just want to know, I know you said you're not in charge of none of the, say about where the money goes, but again, with the extracurricular activities, a lot of people are into music and want to play and be in band and such things as this. And I mean, out of 11 years, I'm a junior. Out of 11 years I've been in high school, been in school. 11 years I've been in school, only been in a music program in school for 1 year out of all those years.
Right.
So I had to have to travel to the west side to Professor Minor Studios to, practice. And I haven't really practiced, I play by ear. But, the Lord has blessed me through that. But at the same token, we shouldn't have to go through going and traveling and going to different places to learn music if we want to learn that, you know what I'm saying? Or other curriculum activities that we have, So I believe if in any way possible, if you can talk, with the, the superintendent of the money or whatever, if you can talk to them about, getting the music programs that started in our schools, because, there's a lot of people that's out in the street that's talented. When I say talented, they can either sing, they can either play snare, they can play any, just talented and musically, and musically inclined, and they're out doing, stealing cars and doing other things.
I hate to cut you off, like I said, we're a little pressed for time, but I get your point, and I applaud your passion, because I understand exactly where you're coming from. My youngest daughter, actually, about a year or so ago, was actually in the process of learning the violin at her school, and unfortunately, because of budget cuts and cuts in funding, they eliminated the music program at her school. And she was heartbroken about it because she was learning to play the violin and was really getting into it. So I understand exactly what you're talking about, and it's important because, see, the thing is, we have, and I love hip hop, but we got a whole generation of people that just want to rap, but can they pick up a guitar? No. Can they sit at a piano and play? No. Can they play a trumpet? No. And it's not entirely their fault, because the problem is, as you indicated, the programs aren't necessarily there in place for them. And all too often what we see happening is that, and it's not just a Detroit thing, it happens all over the country, is that music programs and drama programs are often the first thing to go when times get hard in the school district. And that's unfortunate. But I will talk to the superintendent about that. Something else also that I will mention to her, and it's something for you to consider, is that sometimes if the district's not able to provide this service directly, there are other things that are out there. I'd encourage you to hop on the internet and research some of the programs that are out there, national programs which will provide funding for school districts that are cash-strapped to do music, probably the most well-known one. I don't know if any of you ever watch VH1 on cable, but they have a, I forget what their program is, Save the Music, that's it. I would look into that program because you can apply for grants, and then if you're lucky enough to get one of those grants, they'll help to fund a program at your school, because the whole mission behind it is to do exactly what you're talking about. It's to preserve creative musical talent in young people. I mean, it's great to be able to rap, it's great to be able to sing, but the best way to really explore and know and appreciate music is to know how to read it, know how to write it, and to know how to play some instruments, as opposed to just getting on a mic. It's got to be about more than that. You know, we're not going to produce another generation of Miles Davises or Jimi Hendrixes or John Coltrane's if we're not teaching our people how to write, read music, and play instruments.
That's right. So can I leave my card?
Sure, absolutely. Last question, young man. And state your name first.
My name is Dr. Hall. Do you have any programs that involve conflict resolution?
The city does not, but there's a couple things that I can say. The city does not directly do this, although we do have something. We have a youth department, which is actually, well, it's really not a department. It's like a youth affairs department. It's a division of the Department of Parks and Recreation. And they do some of that. The best thing that I would suggest, if you feel that there's an interest in bringing something like that to this school, is there's a program at Wayne State University Center for Peace and Conflict Studies where they'll send people out and they'll do seminars on conflict resolution, and particularly nonviolent conflict resolution.
Okay.
That's a program that, or is that something you're interested in?
Yes.
Is that something you think this school maybe needs?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Either your principal can do it or one of the teachers can do it, or you can follow up with me. I know people at that program. Again, it's housed at Wayne State University, and it's the Center for Peace and Conflict Studies. I'm sure that they'd be happy to work with you and maybe come out and do like a half-day training or seminar for the kids here at the school.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you all very much for your suggestions, your questions, all your input. It is really very useful, and as I said, this is going to be the last, at least for the foreseeable future, of the meetings that I have been doing, but it won't be the last time that I ever do it. And I'm going to, again, be talking with some other folks within the school system about what it is that you had to say. And I think your voice is an important voice, because as we talk about the future of Detroit Public Schools, you know, we hear from the governor, we hear from the mayor, we hear from the superintendent and the emergency financial manager, we hear from teachers and counselors, but yours is really the most important voice. Sure. And it's also the one that we don't hear enough of. So that's part of the reason why I'm glad to come here today and hear that voice. Now, before I leave, we do have a couple of other things that we have to take care of, and those are some presentations. And we have two.